Hi, I'm Meg Barnhouse, and I want to greet you at the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Atlanta from here in my sanctuary where I serve in Austin, Texas. I appreciate you letting me join you like this. I was very disappointed not to be able to be with you in person, but I feel my own congregation needs me now, and so I cut my study leave short. What I'm going to talk about in your very evocative series about monsters and villains is the shadow qualities within each one of us. As you heard in the reading, Solzhenitsyn says the line between good and evil runs right up the middle of each of us. We all have qualities in ourselves that we don't want to show the world, qualities we don't approve of, or qualities that were taboo in our families. And we put those aside. We submerge those into what Carl Jung called the shadow side of our personalities. I think that doing shadow work for us as spiritual people would help with all of the hatred and all of the racism in the world. And I'll tell you how. Thomas More, in his book, The Care of the Soul, states that the person we choose to be automatically creates a double, the person we choose not to be. We make choices about how we want to present our face to our family, to our friends, to our church members, to the world. And so we have a face like the other side of the moon that hardly ever gets to see the sun, and no one gets to see that face. Let me give you some examples. If in your family you were always supposed to be quiet, if your family valued quiet above all other things, you might push your festive and exuberant nature into your shadow. And so then what happens is it's very difficult for you to be around people who are exhibiting that quality. In other words, you may feel yourself surrounded by people who are too noisy, too loud. It might feel taboo to you, almost dangerous, for a person to be laughing raucously, or a person to be dressed colorfully, or a person to be speaking loudly or arguing. Whatever was not allowed for you gets pushed into your shadow and then feels dangerous when you're surrounded by it. Maybe if you're a person who was always supposed to be happy in your family, then all of your sorrows, your negative thoughts and feelings, your depressive qualities, if you will, which come and go in all of us, get pushed into the shadow. And so then it becomes very difficult for you to be around people who are negative or depressed. It feels dangerous. It feels like they're maybe sucking the life out of you, or they're going to get you all killed, because the authorities in your family wanted happiness and happy talk only. And so speaking about problems seems to be taboo. You can tell where I'm going with this, and you can go there yourself. This is how we do some shadow work. We begin to notice the things that really bother us in other people. And we just ask ourselves, might those things that really bother me in someone else be part of my own shadow? Might I not be interpreting this situation exactly correctly because some things from my alarm about keeping my shadow away from the normal give and take of a situation, might those things be distorting my perception? There is villainy in the world. There are monsters in the world. I'm not saying that if you are horrified at border guards treating people terribly in our camps on the border, or if you're horrified at someone treating a child terribly, that means that this is in your shadow. Some things are just horrifying. It doesn't mean they're in your shadow. But we do tend, as people, to project our shadow qualities on other people. And that might be part of the violence that's being done on the border Americans who identify as white often project qualities on darker-skinned Americans or refugees or asylum seekers and say, oh, they are dirty or they are diseased, whatever our leaders say. They are lazy or they're oversexed or in our country's history, there have been many, many groups, the Irish, the Italians, the African Americans, the Latinx people. We, white identifying Americans, have projected our shadow on those groups completely unfairly. And we're not the only ones that do it, but we're mainly the ones who are here this morning. So I'm talking to you and myself, those of us who identify as white. And even people of color have their own shadow that they can project on other groups. That is a fact, that there is diversity within diversity, and I am not the person to speak about that. Some people are frightened of their wonderful qualities. Some people are scared to shine too brightly. This is the other side of shadow work that I've called in the title of the sermon, Gold in the Shadow. Sometimes you have heard too often not to stick out or not to stick up or not to be too good at something, or you've been punished for being too good at something, or you've heard what I hear as a Japanese proverb, but I have not heard that from a Japanese person. The nail that sticks up will be hammered down. And so you might be leery of shining too brightly. And so you push those shining qualities, your leadership qualities, your wisdom, your energy, your insight into your shadow as well. And then you project those on people that you see all around you. Now, I know ministers have this happen to us a lot, that people project onto us the qualities that they wish they had, or the qualities they have been scared of in their own selves, because we stand up in front of people and seem to be shiny sometimes, but let me tell you, we are not, as I'm sure you know in your heart of hearts. I think people need heroes, political heroes, maybe just someone who is rich, and you think, ooh, that person must have good judgment because they got rich. And I wish I had good judgment about money like that. And I'm projecting that onto them as my hero. Or maybe that person has a great personality because they're strong and they're physically formidable. And they are my hero because I don't feel myself to be physically strong or formidable. Or maybe I have not allowed myself to be as strong as I could be. Sometimes people are not allowed to feel their full rage and their full sense of justice. And so we stay small and project that on our activist heroes. I think that there is something in many of us that is a little bit scared to succeed. I think there is something within many of us that doesn't want to pass our ancestors or to surpass our parent or our siblings, or we keep ourselves small in order to make other people not feel like we are too much, too big, too loud, too certain. We are self-deprecating, and we sometimes put our own problems forward so as not to scare people or intimidate people. The shadow carries all kinds of different elements, and we need to search it. Because if you don't search your shadow, if you don't see the good things and the things that alarm you in your own shadow, it's like having a wasp in the room and losing track of where it is. I mean, at some point, you might sit on it by accident and get stung. Your own shadow can really sting you sometimes as something comes out of your mouth that you think, oh my goodness, I couldn't have said that. Did I really say that? That's not me. That's your shadow coming out when you are not aware. I want to close with a wonderful quotation that Martha Graham wrote to her friend Agnes de Mille. Both of them beautiful dancers, beautiful choreographers, creative, marvelous in their time. But it is very hard to be an artist in our culture, and I think in almost any culture. It's such a solo activity, and it's so beset with demons from your own shadow saying, I must not be any good. Maybe I'm no good. I don't know. I can't tell. Maybe people are just being nice to me, or maybe this is all just a mess and I should go do something else. Here's what Martha Graham wrote to Agnes de Mille. There is a vitality, a life force, a quickening that is translated through you into action. And because there is only one of you in all time, this expression is unique. And if you block it, it will never exist through any other medium and will be lost. The world will not have it. It is not your business to determine how good it is, nor how valuable it is, nor how it compares with other expressions. It is your business to keep it yours, clearly and directly, to keep the channel open. My beloved friends, yes, there are villains and monsters out there, yes. But the beginning of villainy and monstrosity can be found inside each one of us. An overpowering feeling of self-righteousness is itself a red flag that bad behavior is soon to come. So watch our self-righteousness and watch your shadow. Watch your uncertainties and your certainties. Watch your wisdom and your foolishness, and know that it is all in there, in all of us. All blessings on you.